an educator who could reach to the level of shaking hands with the President of India. For a teacher, there has to be a priority for learning. I learn from my peon at times, how to cater to the situation, how to react to the situation. Well, as a parent, of course, when my son got selected in National Law University in Delhi, and he got 52 rank out of 18,000 students. So that was a pride moment for me.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Great Principles. I am Seema Chhoriya. I bring to you another decorated figure from the world of Indian academia. By visiting to my guest today, I can recall the words of Mary Elizabeth Coleridge. The fruits of the tree of the knowledge are various. He must be strong indeed who can digest all of them. Starting off as a humble school teacher, our guest today has plucked these various fruits and yes, very surely processes learning well enough to share it ahead. Once a computer teacher, today he is a school head who has global reach through his various courses on Udemy platform, has authored and published many school books and created educational apps. He is a tree of knowledge himself, and I hope we get to few fruits to pluck from his wisdom today. I'm immensely privileged and happy to welcome Dr. Dheeraj Mehrotra, school principal, author, and national awardee. Welcome to Great Principles, sir. It's an honor to have you here, sir.
I'm also honored and privileged to be a party to this. Thank you so very much, Seema. Thank you.
So, sir, as I mentioned, sir, about your journey. So let us begin where it all started. So once the time you were a computer teacher, now like the mighty oak, you have grown and branched out in the various field of education. So here I would like to ask you, what inspired you to choose teaching as a profession?
Well, to be very frank, I don't want to say that teaching was my passion. Well, it came out of the blue that I was doing my graduation, and out of that very segment that I also occupied myself to my, skill development that time in late 90s. And to that pretext, I happened to land up in one of the computer institutes. And to my surprise, the director of that institute offered me a job saying that there's a school project. Why don't you go and you teach? But I said, I'm yet to complete my course. That doesn't matter. It's just basics to class 5th, 6th, 7th. And I took that as my pocket money, whatever you call it. So that way it was very fun while I was still doing my graduation. And it came out that I made that as my career with the march of time. And of course, learning continued. And with that passion of learning became my passion of teaching. So that is the reason that probably I look out to my spectrum of being an educator who could reach to the level of shaking hands with the President of India, Abdul Kalam ji. It was on the 5th of September 2006, actually, when I got that opportunity to receive the National Teacher Award on behalf of the Council for the Indian School Certificate Examination. That was the body who recommended my name. Yeah.
So, you're always learning, lifelong learning attitude is what that is, I think, help you to grab that award, and that is very much deserved. So, congratulations for that national award, sir. And now going ahead on your journey, it's almost like, 3 decades into education. And now, from nowhere to be a national head, a national awardee, a school head. So, why did you branch out into various roles of formal and informal educator?
Well, very true that I had partnered with the structure of school education and also the corporate level. I happen to be serving two corporate bodies, that is GEMS Education and also Next Education, both in terms of being an academician. But the corporate culture and the culture within the classrooms or within a school harnessed my potential to gain the spectrum of catering to both sides of the coin, both as a vendor
Mhm.
and as the person who's going to utilize the product offered by the vendor. So it was a good niche altogether, a learning platform. And I believe in learning to learn as a priority rather than an occasional occurrence. And probably now I can make out, when I talk to the parents or when I talk to the vendors in particular, or to my colleague principal attribute, which governs, whether it is choosing a book out of a publishing company or probably delivering some content in the form of a digital content, to the very spectrum of recommending a Udemy course. So it is a 360-degree framework, touching to that aspect of delivery towards learning as the ultimate outcome.
Right. So, sir, having said this, that how this has helped you in analyzing which product is good, being a vendor and now a consumer both. So, here I would like to know from you, how do you help your teachers polish their skills and upgrade their core subject knowledge?
Very true. In fact, for a teacher, there has to be a priority for learning, because if they don't learn, they cannot dwell to the requirements of the new days. Post corona, we have faced, you know, a new attribute of learning, of being curating. Children are becoming curators of knowledge, not only absorbing knowledge, but they're creating knowledge by themselves. So, to cater to the needs and the spectrum of street smart learning and teaching, I believe it is the priority for the teachers to be trained on what's going on, across the world. And thanks to the pavilion of information technology, which has made it available in a big way, and I would say rather a big flat way, wherein each teacher is a creator, a producer, and a director of his own classroom, which was limited in the early years. They had one book, and that book was, prescribed to the day routine of the teacher. But today, the teachers are trying to encapsulate knowledge in a big way, with the delivery and the potential of engaging the students in the best of the possible ways. And today, each teacher has a toolkit, and that toolkit is absorbing them to more of their identity, not only in their respective classrooms, but they are gathering and taking that opportunity to create their online reputation management in a big way. And here comes the importance of digital body language, which is a requisite now. You and me is scattered to the deliveries, but the very essence is the online reputation management, which these teachers have, prospered and dwelled with the march of time. And thanks to the power of technology, which has made them, harness their skills. So as educators, as heads of schools, probably we, the principals, need to, look out that expansion and harnessing the potentials of these teachers. And I make it a point probably to look to very spectrum of how best I'm going to be helping them, aiding them to be better of what they are of their yesteryears, rather than comparing them with Mr. X and Mr. Y. I always tell them, you compare yourself with you of yesterday, you of today, and the you which you would be tomorrow. So that's my spectrum as an as an educator, as well as a lead educator for my school.
Very rightly said, sir. It is the responsibility of school heads to, groom their teachers, to harness their skills. Much needed time to time, as the need is there. Like COVID suddenly opened, disrupted everything. And now from notebook, we are in front of, the gadgets. So we need to train our teachers there. So this is what is the responsibility of school heads, to constantly keep upgrading their teachers' skills. So, sir, any advice for the teachers specifically? They were very apprehensive of technology earlier, and now suddenly, when they were forced to, they are doing wonders. Actually, they all have turned out to be very great. But any specific advice you would like to give out to our teachers there?
Well, very sure. As a teacher, I would say that to be a teacher, you need to be a lifelong learner. You can't be dependent on your ABCDs of your vocabulary, because even the vocabulary of ABCD has changed and migrated from A for apple to A for Android, B for boy to B for Blackberry, and C for cat to C for cloud.
Yeah.
So we need to look forward to that expansion and let www be not the restriction of just being a web, but an opportunity for you and for the others to be as whatever, whenever, and wherever. So they need to look forward to that www aspect of being their own leader and learner. They should not be dependent on circulars from the boards like CBSE and ISC to get to know that, sir, this is there, so now I have to learn about experiential learning, I have to learn about capacity based learning. You need to look out, that how good you're going to be by competing yourself, by exchanging your vocabulary, and try to upload and upgrade your vocabulary of words. Even teachers fall off praising words, like when they say very good and wonderful, there's no third word apart from good and wonderful. So that's the very, very unfortunate part, because the teachers have never been into that collaborative effort of going a little extra or going out of the box to get to some words which brings delight for the students, like that of course, when we do brainstorming in our teacher training sessions, we do come up with ideas, and through mind maps and through the Ishikawa diagrams, we tend to reflect that. But certainly it has to be a habit, that every teacher need to be, governed with the capsule of, I'm going to be the best. And rockstar teachers are not born nor made, they are self-made. And for that respect, I would request all wonderful teachers around to look forward to opportunities through online courses like that of Coursera, Udemy, and other things, and try to uplift their momentum of learning. They should explore their identity through the social media approach on LinkedIn Learning and other preface. Try to have their own website, which I always tell them, there are many, many portals which offer you free websites, like webs.com, for example, wherein you just need to develop your website. And when next time you share a simple email ID with your students, and when you share a website with your students, you really make an impression, and that impression has to be continued, because as a teacher, you need to be believing in developing a rapport every day. It can't be once in a blue moon or one fine day on a teacher's day you sang a song or you played a guitar that you could impress them all their life in the school. No, not at all. As teachers, you need to be bringing that rapport building as a continuous measure by your approach, by the delight you share during the morning assembly, or probably you look forward to what deliberations you do or you make or you deliver during the morning assembly, or when you go to their arrangement, substitution, or proxy class. What do you do? What vocabulary you share with them? That brings that rapport, and that rapport works in engagement and their interest. For I believe, as a teacher trainer, as a principal, as an author, I believe that the children will only like the subject if they like the teacher. So of course, today we remember our teachers and the subjects they taught, and the subject liking is directly proportional to the liking of the teachers. So that preface counts a big way. And if you don't feel like, when you go to the classroom, the children are sleeping at times with their eyes open. Yeah, you can even find out that many times children sleep with their eyes open, and you need to really pull
Yeah.
them up, and then they say, oh, I'm sorry. Right. So that happens. Why? Because they don't have a like for you. So probably you're going to develop and delight that like, bring out that like by your attributes in the classroom, the way you dress, the way you interact with them, the way you motivate them, the way you bring fantasy in the classroom, the way you bring that pride in the classroom, the way you bring out humor in the classroom, which is equally important, right? You need to talk about the Obamas and the Malalas, not only coming to and just telling them, open your copies. It should not be open your copies right away. You need to be talking to them. You need to be marching their feet. you need to talking and rather working the talk, not only talking and walking the talk. So as teachers, you need to really, do a lot of exercise, a lot of ice breaking every day to build a rapport. And then only you'll feel like, yeah, the children are, they'll come to you as you are the piper of Hamlin. So that is the structure and the observance you need to narrate being an educator today, because gone are the days, I'm sorry, when teachers used to let the children read. I remember you must have encountered the similar notion where the teachers used to
Yeah.
read. But today you can't expect a teacher to make the children read the subject or the thing as a story and then next. So it can't be. Even history is taught through role playing and other initiatives, so storytelling and other operations of teaching strategies are in page and in practice. So I believe that things have changed and you can't be teaching the way you were taught. So if you're doing so, you're actually befooling them. So my request to all the teachers to open up their carriage of learning and believe in themselves. As I repeat that uh, good teachers are costly, but bad teachers cost more. So don't be a bad teacher. Be a good teacher, be an innovative teacher, and be open to learning. At times we learn and we go by the demands of the children. We have to teach the children the way they want to learn rather than I know how to teach. So that's the preface from my end.
Absolutely. So wonderful advice for all my teachers out there. You are all self-made. So when you start taking that effort as Sir guided, have your own website, interact with teacher, be innovative. You are magicians. Just pull up your magic wand and see how a child falls in love. It's all up to you. You are the magician in the class. So wonderful advice here from Sir. So moving ahead, Sir, your vision is like learning to learn. More you learn, more you earn. So through your regular schooling and online coaching pedagogies, the only outcome I believe is benefit to all learners across borders. So here, sir, I would like to know from you, which Six Sigma's technique do you apply when you create your various learning programs?
Well, when we talk about a very program or a course on Udemy, I look forward to the idea. The idea is to make people understand about the priority of learning and the subject you choose. Similarly, is my when I go to write a book, of course, we look forward to. We can appreciate the concept of learning. For example, if I'm thinking of writing a book, I choose a topic on the move, and then with that very preface, I make it a point to explore what type of, for example, tips for choosing the right career. Now, I look forward to that this particular of engaging the children in the best of the possible ways. So when I'm designing a course, I always take in view that this is in demand. For example, recently I designed a course on digital body language. And I also authored a book on digital body language, which I could understand and imagine that due to the pandemic, the teachers were more oriented towards the spectrum of online delivery and the inception of working online. So their online digital body language, or the online body language, I the better call it, is one of the ways through which they can penetrate to be the best teacher, or they can be the laziest all the way go. Because at times we were prior to pandemic, we were all used to of defining ourselves to the use of the PowerPoint, and that was the A and the Z of it. But with the much of time, if you expect a teacher to be delivering PowerPoint while online teaching, I think he's trying to dig his own stuff. But the thing is that how best I'm going to be engaging my audience. So thanks to the powerful platforms like Zoom, Teams, and Skype or other platforms, which have really come up with the chat mode or some vocabulary, or we can even make use of the parallel WhatsApp and other things. So the spectrum lies is the priority first of all, and then the second thing is the beauty of that connect, what that subject or the course content will do to make itself a priority in the learning. So when I try to gaze on, I look forward to that within a day, I get around 2000 or 3000 students from over 180 plus countries. So that is a great, a win-win approach for me. And I always make it a point that whenever I deliver, I make it free of cost for around 1 month or something, just to get a feedback on that spectrum. So all my courses vary from around 400 to 450 of them on Udemy, which caters to over 8 lakh students globally. The fact is that when they try giving me a feedback, I always try to revisit on them. Plus, Udemy also allows us as instructors to write to them and even receive messages from them. So I have to dedicate at least 1 hour, catering to these requisites and inputs from their end as well. Keeping the pace of learning, of course, we also have the facility here to promote these courses via mails, which I generally do, to follow the links. But the very unfortunate part is that we don't tend to reflect on what is free to us. And that is, even that's the reason probably the MOOCs in India did not get that success as it was expected. So probably we believe in the fact that when it is free, of course, it may not have a quality, right? And they would be happily paying 10 times. So when I, price my courses, they start selling. But when I am making it free, unfortunately or fortunately, I would call it, they are the very low things are there. So when I, for example, price it to say around $10, they go with a sale, and I'm happy, selling at least 10 to 12 courses a day. But again, that spectrum has to be there, that learning can be from any moment, from anybody. I learn from my peon at times, how to cater to the situation, how to react to the situation. And hence I say that learning can be from anybody, from anywhere. Even from a grandson can teach you something, and then even your peon can teach you so many things. It is not only that you are the boss, so you are the dronacharya, or you're the learned person. I'm sorry. So that spectrum, even the teachers need to look out on the passion of learning, and they do so. Unconsciously we land up learning through our students also. And of course we can't make it public saying that it's because of you, that I'm because of here, but unconsciously we tend to learn, and this has to continue. This has to continue. Only the fact is that when I believe in myself that I am the learned lot, I'm the winner, I'm sorry, it's not like that. So as an educator, I believe that learning should be a practice, and it should come any day, every day, any moment. The way I'm interacting with you, I'm actually learning solace, comfort, listening, patience, and these things actually bring you the best in your lives. And somehow the other, they get reflected in our deliberations, in our interactions, and that preface helps you to be better on the go.
Absolutely. So, totally agree with you that you need to be open to learning. Many a times we are so many surrounded in our own mirage that we, just forget to look around. There is learning everywhere. It's up to us. How do we take it and absorb it? Going ahead, sir, as you said, 450 Udemy courses, 8 lakh students, 150 school books, Limca Book of Records, and India Book of Records, a national award as an educator. That's a huge, huge achievement, sir. It all means to have raised the bar and outperform yourself. So, how do you keep up with the reformative work in education? How do you manage this?
Well, I won't be blabbering on my achievements, but for sure, I believe, as I said, is to be engaged, to be into something every now and then. And my belief is that whatever you can do, you should do. Instead of saying that I can do, you should believe in working the talk, rather than walking the talk and talking the talk. So I believe that if I can learn something, say if I learn about a concept like design thinking, so why not that I develop the course? Why not that I develop the app? Why not that I write a book on that? You know, so that whatever learning I've had, that gets doubled with the march of time, and some other person can also, help learn about it. So as a streamer for education delivery, it is that to teach design thinking, or probably, any other topic for say, I'll have to have a class with some students. Now where do I look for those students? So why not write a book for it? Why not deliver a ppt and put it on slideshare, or probably compile a book? So that's my belief, that's my belief, that it's good to share knowledge. And of course I can't promote myself as the messiah or the master or the mentor of that subject. That thing started, like whatever course I did over a matter of years, whether it is experiential learning. I wrote a book on experiential learning. I made a course on experiential learning. Then I went to neuro linguistic programming. I did that course from Thailand. It was a 9-day course, 10-day course. And then, of course, I compiled it as a book for teachers, because there was no book for NLP for teachers. And it's a hot selling on Amazon. Similarly, for the courses also. Then Six Sigma in education is actually partnered from the factories and the industries, where they look forward to the defects. 3.14 million, 3.14 defects per million operation, so that is, now people really wonder that how come you are integrating that as a concept in academics. So when I come to that, I really figure out, when I do my brainstorming with the teachers, I always make it a point to do that define, measure, inspect, analyze approach, the DMAIC cycle. And then they design it, they reflect on the concerns. And one of the concerns probably which came out with a lively brainstorming session among the group of teachers came out to be distractions in the classroom. Now, this is an issue. This is the concern. So if I tend to reflect on reducing the distractions in the classroom, I aim to solve my problem in a big way. And there are many, many measures. Now, this is again a global problem. It's not only in my class, 8th B, that there is a distraction in the classroom. It is world over. Even in online classrooms, there are distractions. So we can, this is a part of a active study or a active research, which I tried doing it as a part of a Six Sigma project. And it came out to the wonders. And to my surprise, a US-based website, sixsigma.com, published it as a white paper. And that is the reference. So then I published a book on Six Sigma in education by S. Chand and Company. That's a New Delhi based publisher. So that's with the march of time, we need to look out that how best you can contribute to the world wherein people can learn something. And you being a learner should not only be, putting that data on your head top and not to disseminate it or not to deliver it. So as an educator, I feel that if I gather some knowledge, I need to, pass it on to my teachers, pass it on to the society. The format can be so easily be done, these days. It's so easily available. When I created my first course, I remember it was 3 or 4 years back. It was such a surprise and a delight for me. Udemy said you have to, first of all, send me a video, make it public on YouTube, send me the link, they'll test it, they'll do that. So I was not having any like expertise on being over the camera, and there were nothing like Zoom or nothing that sort. It was of not that, but again they gave me a pass signal. And then of course the first course came, then the second course came, and now it is 450 plus courses. So it is all with the help of the experience, and all with the march of learning, the inputs they suggested, the recommendations they sent, and the feedback I received from the students all around the world was again a great delight. So as a teacher, I believe that one has to be open to queries, one has to be open to suggestions. And even, we need to target and praise our students in public, thank them in public, as if they're there 40 minutes in our classroom. It's not only a headache for us, but a headache for them to listen to us. So it has to be meaningful, and you just can't be going there without planning. If you fail to plan, actually you are planning to fail. So I believe each of us should prepare ourselves. And teaching online again, talks about plan A and plan B. If this will happen, the signals don't work, what will happen? You need to plan out multiple plan A, plan B, plan C. What you'll do orally, you'll do on a verbal mode, you'll do with audio, because at times children don't have a good connection. So we tell them, teachers, to make it only audio, right? So that you also be an
Yeah.
audio format, so that they are openly available with lesser strength of signals, they can be occupied, right? So that is, at times, I always tell them that there is a model of dictation. So dictate them your terms and your delivery, and make them engaged with that format. So I believe teaching requires greater challenges post pandemic, but for sure, I am very sure teachers are well equipped. No be it taught them about how to cater to post corona or to the pandemic, but for sure, be it told them that how to prepare themselves. And the preparedness is so very important, and take all challenges as opportunities for educators.
Absolutely. So, I love the point where you said, if you think you can, then just go ahead and you should. So
Very true.
stop thinking, start acting. That is the key, I guess. We all keep thinking, I can do this, I can do that, but we just don't take a step ahead and do it. And that is what I think Sir is doing. If Sir thinks that I should write a book, then he takes a step and do it. So, this is the key to all my viewers. Stop thinking now, start, get into action, start doing, and you see that you achieve great results. Going ahead, sir, on this beautiful note, we reached the very interesting segment of the show, which is called Rapid Fire Round. Here you have to answer in one word or max a sentence. Right? So here goes the first question. Who is your favorite celebrity?
Well, he's Amitabh Bachchan.
Amitabh Bachchan. All right. Next question. Are you a movie buff?
Not exactly, but I love to listen to TED Talks because I'm a TED speaker as well. Yeah.
All right. Which is your proudest moment as a parent?
Well, as a parent, of course, when my son got selected in National Law University in Delhi, and he got 52 rank out of 18,000 students. So that was a pride moment for me.
Definitely a proud moment. Guwahati is dash, fill in the blanks.
A great place to learn.
All right. So Guwahati is a great place to learn. Last question in this segment. What is your favorite recreational activity?
Writing a book.
Writing a book, of course, an author to the soul, definitely. So here comes the next question here. So you are, unstoppable when it comes to providing learning opportunities. So what motivates, to go into international borders? And here I would like to know, who is your chief inspiration in the world of education?
Well, I believe that, of course, I follow Abdul Kalam ji. Of course, he's no more now, but his speeches, and he said one thing, while I was receiving the award from him, he shook hands and said, "Remember, young man, to have a small aim in life is the biggest crime in the world." And those words still reverberate in my ears. To have a small aim in life is the biggest crime in the world. That is what I've been telling to my teachers and to my students, to make them continue thinking, and even, not thinking of sky being the limit.
Right. So Sir's source of inspiration is the great Abdul Kalam ji, and no wonder Sir is following to his footsteps by being visionary. Going ahead, Sir, this brings to me to the last question of the show. This is also called viewer's choice question. Being considered as a noble profession, teaching is also one of the thankless jobs of the world. And an educator's efforts are more or less valued by what the marks the child is achieving. Sadly, but this is the truth. We all judge the child's learning through his mark sheet. Though everyone is trying effort, and everyone is telling, even our Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji is saying that stop treating mark sheet as your prestige sheet. So going ahead, sir, on this, I want to ask you, what are your views on private tuitions or coaching classes that are thriving nowadays?
Well, as an educator myself, I feel that if your children are going for private tuitions, then you should leave that profession of being a teacher. If I'm teaching in class 9, for example, and 10 of my students are going for private tuitions, that means I don't have the capacity and the capability to be a teacher. When I'm not able to convince and make their concepts clear, why is it that they're paying outside and going away? So I always respect teachers who believe that no, none of their children should go for private tuitions. I'm not talking about 10s and 12s where they of course prepare for competition as well, but apart from, as far as the subjects are concerned, for primary classes, for junior classes, I really, really appreciate parents who believe in their teachers. But for sure, teachers need to put their extra efforts to be the best teachers. And I believe that if my child, as a teacher, if I find that in 8th B, for example, I'm teaching, I'm mentioning this section is to make it a priority, and the teachers will understand well that why inscribing on that section talks about it is that I'm failing in my duties if 10 of my or 5 of my students go, because it is the duty of the teacher to expand the horizons of the children and motivate them, engage them all the view. And of course, making 35% to 55 is the real hard work or the smart work the teachers need to do. It's not like 95 getting 99. It's their own motivation. The child is already good, right? But our objective should be to identify the children who are gathering into 35, 40, 50, to make them to 75 is the real hard work. And I'm not at all, never have been, in companion to private tuitions. Of course, when I say that the teaching profession is not of a high regard, as you mentioned, yes, it's not a first choice, it's not a second choice, it's not a third choice as well. And many of the teachers are by default teachers. They are not by choice but by chance. But for sure, once they are there, you need to be, you know sincere to it. And let me tell you the very fact that teaching is the profession which is the most respected profession in the world. Next comes nursing, and that's the Google result. So I always tell them, once you're a teacher, you need to act like a teacher. You need to work religiously. You need to dwell on the fact that children believe you blindfold completely. My teacher said it, and my teacher said it. So that's the belief. My teacher says, my teacher believes in this, so I'm going to do it. And children follow you like anything: the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you deliberate, the way you drink water. I tell you, so many ways. Even, the other day, my daughter was interacting with a group of teachers. I said, what did you look in them? Oh, my dad, I was carried away by their pink nail paint, so they're carried away. They are carried away by every notion, by every spectrum, the way you walk, the way you talk. So we need to present ourselves to the best way possible, and that's what, unconsciously we are able to teach them beyond ABCD, and that's the real learning in their lives.
Absolutely. So, throughout the conversation, there is one thing which is very clear, that teacher is the center point of entire education system. And, along with the onus of responsibility to make things better lies on the teacher. But we as parents, as school leaders, we also have one very big, huge responsibility of respecting them, treating them well, and valuing their work. Sadly, at times, what happens when parents say, "Yeah, to tumhari teacher na, she's not good at all," even the child takes that. So we need to
Right.
set an example of respecting and valuing teachers. When we expect so much from our teachers, there is, on the other side of the coin, responsibility on our shoulders also. So everyone is doing their bit to make this profession a wonderful one, which is the mother of all professions. The creator of all profession is teaching ultimately. So on this wonderful note, we would end this session here. And sir, it was an absolutely enriching session with a lot of advice, and we witnessed a personality and listened to the wise words of an achiever and a workaholic person today. So, sir, your presence on our show is a boon to many of us, and every one of us gained from your expertise, ideologies, and vision. We thank you for your time with us. It was absolutely delight hearing you, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure as well. God bless you. Thank you.